Good morning, night day, gentlemen and ladies. It's the horror appraisal. I'm Sam.
I'm Evan.
We, we
Anyway, so we're back. We're back with our 64 horror movie Face Off.
yeah, you've been enjoying the other one that we put up.
Round 4, baby. This is like Rocky versus Drago, man. That's where we are at this point. All right?
I must break you.
Yeah, maybe not such a great comparison.
It's kind of how it feels sometimes. We saw some heartbreak really come out in the second and third brackets. The first one was like, yeah, this is fun. And the second and third one were like, this shit's real.
I wasn't fazed by it at all. I don't know what you're talking about.
People even commented. That's funny. So we're doing our 64 horror film face-off bracket thing.
Yeah.
We're going to go ahead and dive right in.
Yeah, just a quick reminder. As far as the first 3 brackets go that will face off in the final bracket, bracket 1, bracket 1, the winner was Hellraiser. Bracket 2 was Dawn of the Dead. And bracket 3 was Nightmare on Elm Street. So all of those films will be part of the final brackets.
Yeah, those are some good films. All right, I'm gonna go first. Remember,
right.
We have left the exact same movies in this little candy bowl. It's almost Halloween time, so this is very appropriate.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm going to reach in here without looking and grab the first film that we'll be debating.
What you got?
Day of the Dead.
Ooh. Day of the Dead.
Really great Tom Savini film, Bo.
Yeah, absolutely. George Romero's sequel to Dawn of the Dead. Day of the Dead, of course, had absolutely wonderful, wonderful, wonderful special effects.
Yeah, I think what holds that movie back a little bit is its music. Otherwise, that movie is really good.
Yeah,
some of the acting is a little over the top cheesy, but
You know, but that's the thing that makes it fun for me. All right, well, let's see what's going to face off against them, and then we'll talk a little bit more about them. All right, so George Romero's I'll get it. George Romero's Day of the Dead is going to face off against John Carpenter's Prince of Darkness.
ooh,
That's an
tough
interesting
choice.
That actually is an interesting mashup here. I wonder if we are going to come to consensus.
honestly, in some ways, I could go either way.
Oh, we know.
For me, Day of the Dead is really a film about effects and atmosphere, but the acting and the music fall short.
Okay. Well, here's what I want to say about Day of the Dead. Okay. I love the part of Day of the Dead, even though a lot of people find it cheesy. It's really the first time, like, we saw, at least to my knowledge, it's the first time we saw, like, the subplot in zombie films as far as trying to domesticate or tame the wild zombie.
It was very original.
And I actually really like that about it. And I'm the first time I watched Day of the Dead, and the dickhead sergeant dies, and Bub is down the hallway, and Bub gives the salute to him, kind of like a you know. But I gotta say, I mean, that was like, I was like,
Chocada!
yeah, that was really cool. So actually, that's a moment of that film that, of course, a lot of people remember that scene, but
There's lots of great moments
that
in that film.
really sticks with me.
Honestly, I really enjoy watching that film.
Yeah.
Prince of Darkness.
Prince of Darkness is here's the thing. A lot of you might not have even seen Prince of Darkness. It's actually not that well known of a horror film, even though it's one of John Carpenter's, and it's awesome. Prince of Darkness deals with,
It's all a dream, isn't it?
Well, no, it's not exactly a dream. It deals with.
It's confusing.
It is a little confusing because there's a message that's coming from the future. They're talking about dreams, but they kind of speak to them through dreams. Yeah. But Prince of Darkness to me is a really, really scary movie.
Yeah, it's terrible. Actually, first time I ever saw it, I was laying up in bed at night, like 2 a.m., and there's one particular scene, I was just like, oh, I'm a little scared right now.
Yeah. When the chick transforms, kind of like she's
basically channeling the devil. She reaches into the mirror and her father comes.
Yeah,
through
and if you ask me, Prince of Darkness has really scary imagery.
It does.
I think Prince of Darkness is a scarier film than Day of the Dead.
It is.
If we're going by what a scary film is, especially the end. I don't want to give away the end for Prince of Darkness, but it's rather chilling.
So we need to make a decision.
Oh boy.
Because we do have limited time on
videos.
We do. Because it's a better film, I think, overall, and I think it probably just accomplished more with its goal. I think probably Day of the Dead for me.
Yeah, I'm actually going to give this one to Day of the Dead as well. I don't want to take anything away from Prince of Darkness, because I think Day of the Dead is a super cool movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm gonna go with Day of the Dead. So,
Romero versus Carpenter. I mean, but it's a weaker Carpenter film versus
that's true.
honestly a weaker Romero film. But some people consider that to be his best zombie film.
Yeah. All right, Day of the Dead wins over Prince of Darkness. Let's move on.
All right, now you go first, sir.
Okay, so round 2 in bracket 4.
The big show.
Ooh, we have The Howling.
Oh man, that's my favorite werewolf movie.
The best werewolf movie ever made.
That's a good transformation. Some people disagree. They say, he's just
I'm
standing
going
there.
down here for that. That's what you want, right?
Yeah.
Or do you want? Okay.
It doesn't matter. Paranormal Activity.
Well.
I'm going to go ahead and say something about Paranormal Activity. It brought a new culture. It brought a new slew of horror fans, I feel like, to the market.
Mm-hmm.
In a market where we were doing kind of some stale things, I felt like it offered something fresh in the found footage category. And I think that Paranormal Activity is one of those films that if you go into it expecting not to be scared, or you're going to out maneuver the film and be bravo, have a lot of bravissimo or something. Bravado. That's the word. If you're gonna do that, it's not gonna be scary. Just in the way The Exorcist is not gonna be scary if you do that. If you believe in ghosts, you believe in demonic possession, Paranormal Activity can be scary.
I agree.
The Howling. What do you think about that?
Well, The Howling is unprecedented as far as werewolf films go. It is the werewolf film. I think it's a better film even than American Werewolf in London. We get a lot of flack for that sometimes. Yeah. But The Howling is a better film than Paranormal Activity. The Howling, just really, I'm going to use the reason that we give for a lot of our decisions is because The Howling has such incredible makeup, practical effects, and special effects.
And an aura about it.
Yeah, it was so scary, too.
We have a really long review on this film on YouTube. Check out our channel. It's way down there. We talked like 40 minutes about it. The environment, the Northern California, Oregon atmosphere, the fog elements, just how it looks is creepy movie. And
I agree.
It's got the wannabe Tom Atkins in it. It's got Dee Wallace. It's got a great cast. And the werewolves, I just love the werewolves in that movie.
I agree.
They get up on their hind legs, but they look like wolves. They have the elongated snouts. And
absolutely.
It's just, I don't know. But I got to go with The Howling. It's pretty obvious for me.
All right, so we're good with that. The Howling wins over Paranormal Activity. All right, go for it.
Next up, in the bowl of shame. Oh, buddy. Amityville Horror.
Oh, my.
It's a great movie. I like it.
All
right. What is it, 1976?
I believe so. I believe it was in our bicentennial year. So Amityville Horror, the original, is going to go up against...
So far, we haven't had too much heartbreak yet.
No, not yet. Amityville Horror is going to go up against The Exorcist.
Oh, buddy. Yeah. That's kind of ironic.
It is a little bit. Both films are about demons and...
it's funny. When you're watching Amityville Horror, you think it's like a poltergeist activity, house kind of possession thing. And it really is a scary movie, I think, because it uses an unseen force.
Yeah.
You have this guy who's a very real... specimen of a man, and I know that sounds a little funky, but he's like a lumberjack construction kind of guy.
And he's okay.
And he can have serious potential to do a lot of damage. And when you possess that guy, he's very scary.
Yeah, I agree.
He's a very real threat.
Yeah, he's Josh Brolin, so yeah, he's big.
James Brolin.
James Brolin. Josh Brolin was his son.
I think that movie, what it has going for it is the fly scene and the priest and the violation of Christ in that sense and the holiness.
It's pretty scary.
It's a very scary scene.
So,
The Exorcist.
Now, let's go to William Peter Blatty's The Exorcist, based upon the novel by William Friedkin.
Yes.
I
was actually doing a lot of reading on this today.
The Exorcist is the unparalleled film about demonic possession. I'm almost sad that I've seen it so many times that I've become very callous and immune to its charms. That movie is, in many ways, I think The Exorcist is the scariest film ever made, because it puts a very real picture of, if you believe in demonic possession and everything else, it puts a very real face to it. It really shows how horrific it can be, and The Exorcist does a good job of the screen time for Reagan in The Exorcist, well, really, it's quite minimal when you're looking at what's going on with how it's affecting everyone else around
It's a
them.
big slow burn build up.
I mean, really, you know, her mother is her mother almost feels like the true victim of the film. She's going through so much, and then of course everything going on with Father Karras and his life. I mean, the movie actually really does pull you in and make you feel more about the characters surrounding the possession.
But we also know that Marin is the real target. Because
Absolutely.
He finds Pazuzu, and Pazuzu's like, I'm going to lure you over to America, and we're going to fight again. Because in Exorcist 2, they have their, back, it's like, Exorcist 2 is like a prequel.
Yeah.
And they met before, and Pazuzu is like...
No, Exorcist 2 wasn't.
Maybe it's 3.
No, 3 wasn't either. There's Exorcist 1, 2, and 3, and then...
2 is before the first one.
Then years later...
It shows Marin healing a boy
okay. But
in another country.
All I meant was
as a young man.
Okay. Well, Exorcist 2 actually had Reagan in it. I can't think. Linda Blair.
Yeah, but she's
and then
like
Exorcist 3 did not. It was one of George Scott's last films. He was a detective. It was another.
Yeah, but it showed. Yeah, I remember it standing out because it shows Marin as a young man dealing with Pazuzu before.
Okay, maybe there is that. It might have been a flashback. I'm very sorry. I don't remember that actually.
But one thing,
anyway.
what that brings me to is The Exorcist had one of the most legendary and best old person makeup effects of all time.
I agree.
And that is with Marin. And you take a 40-year-old young man.
Max von Sydow has been the same age for 40 years.
And they did that because they made him look 80 in 1973.
I just thought he looked like that. And now he looks the way he does now. I'm like, oh, he looks the same as he did in The Exorcist.
In 1973.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's remarkable. The Exorcist wins in my book.
Yeah, me too. That's a done deal.
That resolves that. So.
Okay. Well,
But
moving on.
we could talk a long time about The Exorcist.
Yeah, we
I
could.
guess. Your turn.
Okay. So, next, starting off the last regular round of bracket 4, Halloween 3.
Oh man,
That's one of my favorites.
I love that movie a lot. I recently showed my girlfriend that movie, and I think it took her a little bit by surprise because it does everybody the first time they see it. They're like, it's weird. This is weird.
It is a weird. I mean,
you
it took
really have
me
to
by
accept
that.
its charm.
Yeah.
Oh, Child's Play.
Ooh.
Honestly, for some reason, this just doesn't seem that hard to me.
It doesn't to me, and I think we might get some flack from it.
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and
Why don't you go?
Child's Play. It scared a lot of young kids.
Me too.
About dolls.
Me included. I was like 6 or 5.
Yeah, and it has the guy from Fright Night.
Chris Sarandon.
Chris Sarandon.
Yeah.
We've met a couple people from this movie. 3 of them.
Yeah.
Chucky the Killer Doll. It created a really big franchise. Obviously, he ended up being like this folklore with kids and stuff, and really scared people with dolls and stuff. If you go back and watch Child's Play, it's hard to admire it as much, and I know
it still has a lot of charm for me because like I still see the scariness in it, and the scariness for Child's Play for me is that scene where she knows something's up.
And she talked to me.
And she's like, "Talk to me, damn you! I'll throw it in the fire." And this doll that we built up through most of the movie that we haven't seen really do anything yet. It's only been hinted at. Like all of a sudden, it just comes to life in her hand. Yes, stupid bitch. It's like,
you bitch.
And like, yeah, it goes crazy. To me, that was very scary when I was a kid. Watching it now, I actually enjoy watching Child's Play now because it scared me so much as a child, and now, of course, I'm not scared of it.
Halloween 3.
Halloween 3, of course, is always going to be the oddball of the Halloween franchise. It stars one of our favorite guys of all time. It stars Mr. Tom Atkins.
He's one of the very first stars we ever met.
As a doctor who's a total
lush
poon hound and drinks too much. And he's awesome.
Daddy.
Yeah, he's awesome in it. I grew a mustache for Tom Atkins, actually. That's why I have this. But anyway... Halloween 3 is this really cool little movie about this guy who's got this evil plan to make Halloween what it's supposed to be. Sam Hain.
The old Irish,
way.
old Ireland way of damning people.
When the hills ran red.
But the biggest joke of them all, the joke on the children.
Yeah.
Uh,
Halloween 3, yeah, and of course it ends on such a gloomy note. Man, Halloween 3 is an awesome movie. And
Kids are doomed.
it's also got great special effects. I don't really know what else to say about Halloween 3.
I want to say one thing.
Go ahead.
My favorite part is when that woman is messing with the chip on the mask.
Oh my gosh.
And it blasts her in the face.
Oh my golly, Ned.
And
Yes.
it's like, it's opened up.
Yeah.
Halloween 3 gets my vote.
Yeah, Halloween 3 also gets my vote, so that's going
Sorry,
to be
Child's
Child's Play. Sorry. So, now we're going to be moving on to the semifinals. We have in the semifinals a bracket for Day of the Dead versus Exorcist and The Howling versus Halloween 3. So, let's go ahead and go back to The Howling and Halloween 3.
The Howling and Halloween 3.
Ignore that I already wrote that there.
Wow, you must think you know me or something.
I do.
I'm going to go ahead and cut to the chase. The Howling for me is a much more legendary film. It accomplished more than Halloween 3 did. Halloween 3 is a fun, really cherished movie. I think.
Yeah.
And
It
it pulls at the heartstrings when I look at it because it's just so nostalgic. It's become nostalgic even though I didn't watch it as a kid.
Yeah.
It's weird for me, but it takes me back, really. But The Howling is just too good for me. It's too eerie and creepy, and I love it.
I agree. So, Howling wins over Halloween 3 in the first round of the semifinals for bracket 4. So now, for the last round of the semifinals for bracket 4, we have Day of the Dead versus The Exorcist. I'd like to go ahead and start.
Go.
So, while we have established Day of the Dead, I love Day of the Dead. It's a great, fun zombie movie. Day of the Dead actually managed, even though it's quite heavy subject matter, Day of the Dead managed to be, I think, a little lighter fare than its predecessor. It had to be after Dawn of the Dead, anything would be.
Dawn's bleak.
Right? Yeah.
How much guests we have?
Yeah.
Not much.
Yeah, really. And then of course we have The Exorcist, which of course it's not just, you can't just call something the scariest movie of all time and expect it to just be true. Except for The Exorcist's case, if you really watch it, that really is one of the scariest films ever made. That film still scares me to this day. The Exorcist, I think, is a finer honed film. It's definitely, qu'est-ce que c'est? How does one say? I do
Refined.
Yeah, it's refined. I enjoy the cinematography and the pacing of The Exorcist. Like I said, you put it very well. The Exorcist is a slow burn. Day of the Dead is not. So therefore, part of it feels a little clumsy to me. I have to have The Exorcist win out over Day of the Dead.
Well, for me, if I'm gonna pick which movie I'm gonna watch more often than one, it's gonna be Day of the Dead.
I can see that.
The Exorcist is just so slow at times, and I've seen it so many times, and I'm just like, but you know what? When I look at the first time I watched either one of them, The Exorcist did scare me. And it's
Absolutely.
Because I believe in demonic possession, and if you are that kind of person, it's going to have more of an effect on you.
Yeah.
And The Exorcist really does, like, as he said, do a better job of bringing like this real kind of sensitive topic into the world, and there's really some drastic scenes
with minimal fanfare and as small amount of fantasy or fantasticness that you can have.
It's to the point.
It's very to the point.
My friend at work, Travis, is actually he's getting through this. He started it up. He was really tired when he got home. He watched like the first 25 minutes, but he was talking to me about it this morning. Already, he's very into the film, and I don't fault the guy for falling asleep. But I'm sure he's going to watch it again. But I'm anxious to see what he thinks about The Exorcist.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, before we get to this last thing, I wanted to give a thank you to Johnny Tellez. He's a YouTube personality. He has lots of followers. He always does lots of product reviews. I'm jealous of all the goodies that get sent to the guy. I don't know if you've really had the chance to watch too much of his channel, but you really should because he's fun and he does all kinds of product reviews. He's a geek and he gets into the sci-fi and all
I
that
can't
stuff.
hang out with geeks, man.
He's been nice on Facebook and everything else. So I just wanted to give a shout out to Johnny Tellez for really being a cool guy, and it's nice to meet people in the horror fan world that actually talk to you and aren't snobs.
Yeah, really. Are we snobs?
I don't think we're snobs. We just know what we're talking about.
Oh, yeah. All right. So,
on to the end of this video.
Now, for the end of bracket 4, we have reached the end. We have The Howling versus The Exorcist.
This is actually a really good matchup.
I'm actually not quite sure what I'm going to say.
Me either. One is perhaps the best demonic possession film of all time, and the other one is definitively the best werewolf film.
Well, no, one is the best demonic possession film of all time, and the other is the best werewolf film of all time. So this, we want to just point out, boys and girls,
The Evil Dead is a demonic possession film. Let's not forget.
they're not the same thing. It's like eggs and egg salad. But anyway, so anyway. Oh, geez. So I want to just point out, this is our opinion. These are what we are saying are the best horror films of all time.
We have to try to take a little bit of ourselves out of it, I think, if we really want to be honest.
So I'm going to go ahead and cut to the chase. Oh, God. I don't want to do this.
Here comes the pain. Bringing on the heartache.
I love The Howling. It is just such a great werewolf film.
Yes.
And it's the werewolf film. It's so badass. The Exorcist is a better film than The Howling.
Yeah. I agree. I would watch The Howling 10 times
Me too.
Out of 10.
Yeah.
Actually, instead of The Exorcist.
Me too.
But that's because I've seen The Exorcist so many times.
Yeah.
The Exorcist wins, and if we said otherwise, you all probably would never watch us again.
But that's the thing. I actually thought about that too, because there was a good 47% of me that wanted to go with The Howling.
It's because you like it more.
It's because I do like The Howling more, actually. I think The Howling is a funner film, and honestly, I think that watching a serious film has its time and place. But 9 out of 10 times, I'm watching a film to have a good time.
So we overcame our biases.
That wasn't so bad.
And we were able to say The Exorcist wins bracket 4.
Absolutely, and the films that The Exorcist beat out are Day of the Dead, Prince of Darkness, The Howling, Paranormal Activity, Child's Play, Halloween 3, and the Amityville Horror.
I will say this. The Exorcist beat out the weakest bracket yet, I think.
Yeah. If The Exorcist had gone up something else, up against something else, we'd have had a harder time, man.
Yes.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you for watching our 4th bracket. I'm holding up 8 fingers and 2 thumbs. But the 4th bracket.
Yep.
We appreciate it. I'm Sam.
I'm Evan.
Stay tuned and watch for our 5th bracket.
Please join us, won't you?
Yeah. Subscribe.